for a little bit because I've been following um, this ongoing invasion in not in Russia, but by Russia in the Ukraine. And the more I watch the analysts speak on it, the more I watch the so-called experts and generals and all of this speak on this thing, I begin to have a question form in my mind, and that question is this: is the media becoming a national security issue? Are they a national security threat? Because there's so much that is influenced by the media, and we've even seen to where in the midst of an all-out actual physical war, whoever the governing body in the Ukraine is and whoever's in charge of their social media site have gone on social media to address things with Russia and the people of Russia. And I'm like, wow, times have really changed to where you can be in war and you can be on social media appealing to the people of the country that's attacking. That is so crazy to me. And so that leads me to the question that I just posed to everybody: is media or social media becoming a national security threat? We already see on the local level how they will police a situation, and we've seen how social media has been used to lock people up and solve crimes and things of that nature. You have the formation of the RICO law, which gives them the right to be able to go into your social media and your devices and extract any information that will be pertinent to a criminal case. And so let's take that and let's amp that up to a much bigger scale. Let's magnify that to a world scale. Now, social media and media in itself to be used in this manner, wouldn't this be a threat to national security of any country? Because now you're giving control of the narrative over to whoever is able to influence the most people. And well, that really goes into what politics has always been about, but this is just them evolving and bringing their tactics up to the new age because they're starting to realize that their old tactics were outdated and obsolete. And so this is their way of updating their tactics. But we have to ask these questions of how social media is being used for these certain narratives on a global scale. This is no longer a local domestic thing. And people say, well, I don't care. Why should I care about Ukraine? I don't care about what happens in Ukraine. Well, you very well should, because Ukraine not only is one of the largest importers, if not the largest importer of uranium, which is one of the major ingredients in nuclear bombs, they also are exporters of a lot more like titanium, and there's so many other natural elements or minerals that they are the leading exporter and trade with. And so if we're dealing with them for these trade issues, this is one thing that is motivating Putin into the invasion, is because he wants to go in and have control over all of these multi-billion dollar mineral deposits that the world relies on. That's going to give them more power. That's going to give them more trading power. That's going to give them more resources to develop their military and whatever other plans that they have for the future. So that's one of the main reasons why he's invading Ukraine right now. And he's not going to stop at Ukraine because he also wants Georgia as well. And there's other surrounding areas that if he's not stopped, he's going to take control of. And this is only going to give him more power. Now, based on their maps, which are not the true maps of the world, but we'll just, for argument's sake, go with their maps, then Russia is one of the largest land areas in the world. So why do they need these other places? Because there are certain things that these places hold that are detrimental to the growth and the ultimate superiority of Russia over the rest of the world. This is why they're so um, this is why they're not bothered about going against the UN or going against the NATO or the European Union. They are not worried about it in a sense because they know if they're able to pull this off, they will be able to garner everything that they need because of the natural resources that the world relies on from these regions. And so we're gonna have to pay more attention to what's going on because you think it don't affect you, but eventually it's gonna make it down to our pockets on these local levels in our countries. And when you start feeling that pinch and you start having to pay more for this or that, and you having to start to pay more taxes so that they can be able to afford those hikes and increases in trade, and also you're going to have the Central Bank of England and you're going to have the Federal Reserves, which is the central bank in your country, whatever country that is, respectively, they're going to raise the interest rates on the money that you can borrow because you're jeopardizing trade, you're jeopardizing foreign relations by getting into this battle with these people. So there is a whole lot of variables that is going to affect us in the United States on the local level, on the domestic level. This is why you should care about what's going on in Belarus. This is why you should care about what's going on in Poland. This is why you should care about what's going on outside of your area because these things are ultimately going to affect us because of the government that we are under and that we've been subjected to. You know, I have a personal stake in it as well because, like I said before, I have a family member that was in Ukraine, and they were led to believe that things was cool and everything was cool. So if something would have happened to where my family member would have been killed in Ukraine, what would have been the story then? What would America said or done to try to cover up the fact that my family member was killed because of their negligence and because of the negligence of the people over there in Ukraine for misleading the people on what was really going on? Yeah, there's no innocent parties in this. Ukraine is the victim, but they're not innocent in this altogether. Because let's go back and revisit. Yeah, Ukraine definitely was a part of Russia. So was Georgia. That's why they have this issue. But like they said, um, okay, well, time has passed. The people of Ukraine have gotten used to their independence. They like their independence, and they have a rich culture because of the resources that they have available that they use for trade and export with the world. So they do not need to be a part of Russia. And why would they subject themselves to somebody else's rule when they can very well rule themselves? Right now, we have cities and states within the United States who are trying to gain their sovereignty from the United States because they feel that they can do a better job of governing themselves. This is what is going on right now with Ukraine. I don't need you. We can govern ourselves. We do not need to be under the rule of Putin. But Putin wants those reserves. Putin wants those resources so that he can garner more power because he has this dream of being the overall emperor of the world, that ultimate dictator. You know, this mindset has not went anywhere, and I want people to understand this, that this mindset of I want to rule the world will never die out. This is a concept and a mindset and a thought pattern that we are always going to have to defend ourselves against no matter what, because there's always somebody with a God complex. There's always somebody who's going to be placed in a position of power to where they cannot handle it, and it consumes them and overtakes them. We're always going to deal with this type of person. No matter how many bin Ladens we kill, there's going to be another to take his place. No matter how many Putins we sanction, there's going to be another to take his place. No matter how many we try to extinguish, you can never kill that spirit. And that spirit is what drives these people. That spirit is what motivates these people. So killing a physical body is not going to stop that mindset. It's not going to stop the destructive behavior, nor will it stop that destructive path. So this is something that we have to get into our minds. This is a spiritual battle. Yeah, you may see physical people out there on the battlefield, but behind the scenes, this is a spiritual battle. And there's things taking place in other realms that you're not even privy to. So I just want people to have a clear understanding of why it's important to know what's going on right now and to be able to understand why Putin is doing what he's doing. Because we're headed to World War III. These are just the birthing pains. All of this is prophecy. All of this has been spoken. All of this has been prophesied. So whether you choose to believe it or not, you see prophecy unfolding right before your eyes. And once again, if you're not a believer in the word, then that's okay. But you cannot deny that the documentation is there, that it ultimately describes exactly what we're going through right now. And if you choose to be, ignorant to that, then, I'm not talking to you right now. This conversation is not for you. So, to the believers, to those who um, have an understanding of what God is saying in these last days, to those of you who have an ear to hear and an eye to see, you are who I'm speaking to. You are absolutely who I'm speaking to. Anybody else, if it don't apply, let it fly. And yeah, man, that's just it. I'm just giving people a clear understanding of what's really taking place in the Ukraine because they're going to try to over explain it and use a lot of words that people don't understand in order to clean it up and try to make it sound like it's something complicated. But it's very, very simple. It's all about greed. And you see that it's a European thing. It goes all the way back to the beginning of time. Europe has never really been, um, they haven't ever been shy about their quest and their I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I guess I'll just go with quest. But they've always been on a quest for superiority over others. We go back and we look at Hitler, we look at Stalin, and all of these people who are on these quests for superiority. You look at Mao Zedong, um, more recently, Donald Trump and Xi Jinping. We have so many people who are stuck in this God mindset, this God complex, to where they want to rule the world. And they feel that they are capable of ruling the world when they can't even rule their own desires within themselves as men. So, I just wanted to point this out to people, and Fox News should be immediately taken off the air. Fox News is anti-government, well, not anti-government. They're doing their job, but they are absolutely anti-peace. They do not mean anything good for the people of this country, and they are simply a tool to keep us fighting with each other, keep us divided, and keep hatred alive in this country. And if you really took off the veil from over your eyes and saw what it was, you would be disgusted as I am. But that's all I really wanted to say, man. I hope this gets out to the right people. And anybody else, oh well, it is what it is. But I stand 10 toes down on what I said because, yeah, I said it. This is your boy D Mac.